Hi, everyone. I'm Chef Adrianne Calvo, and welcome back to the Chef AF podcast, part of Foodable Podcast Network. Today, we are exploring the world of culinary when it comes to major sporting events, specifically the Super Bowl. Joining me is Randy Fisher, the founder and president of Cream. Hi, Randy. It's great to have you on the show.
Hey, Adrian, great to be here. Thanks so much for including me. I look forward to chatting with you today.
Awesome. Well, can you give us a little background on yourself?
Absolutely. How far back do you want to go?
As far back as you want to go.
I don't know where my memory will take me.
Tell me what made Randy Fisher.
Okay, what made? Well, first of all, I got to give a little credit to my mom, but then let's fast forward. And my dad, obviously. But all right, so my getting to the culinary business was somewhat circuitous. I studied finance in undergrad and then went to law school and always had my head kind of wrapped around the culinary world and really enjoyed that as part of my entertainment. And after a couple of different businesses that I had some success with, I got into the hotel development business. And one of the things I really loved about that project wasn't like the long-term buildup of each development, but it was once the doors opened, the real true hospitality, the art of hospitality, how to practice it, how to hone it and refine it. To me, that really kind of got me very excited. As a kid, I remember really being intrigued by food, even exploring where it came from, probably way back before people even thought about that kind of stuff, but knew at some point that I would find myself involved in the food business. And, fast forward to starting Cream, which is an acronym for Culinary-Related Entertainment and Marketing. About 15 years ago, I found a little niche that wasn't being served, and that's where we end up finding ourselves today. And so that's kind of a long-winded story for how I found myself in food and immersed in it and loving it.
Oh, that was so smart of you to find where the world kind of needed cream. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
So what's it like working with major sporting events like the Super Bowl?
Well, first of all, I love the brand the NFL has brought to the market. And one of the great things about the NFL and Super Bowl, for that matter, and other sporting events is that they are realizing how important the overall entertainment factors are in the event itself. It's no longer enough to buy a ticket and sit at a game and just watch the game. They become lifestyle events. I mean, they are certainly expensive, so you want to be able to give your constituents a tremendous amount of value. And one of the things that they've been able to mine, in addition to some other entertainment features, is food. So when you go to work for Super Bowl, first of all, they're super sophisticated. They understand the marketplace. They want to drive you to deliver the best product. I'm really very impressed with everybody that we've come in contact with at Super Bowls. And this is our third or fourth Super Bowl now over the years. They attract the best and brightest producers, obviously the best athletes in the world, the best television directors, advertising execs, promo people, marketing. They all come together on this level playing field, and they try to put out what is the greatest sporting event of the year. And I think they do a great job of it. But with that comes a lot of challenges because everybody is jockeying for position. There are a lot of restrictions in this crazy world we live in now with people doing crazy things, credentialing and background checks, and just the movement of people and food has become challenging because of the security concerns. So it's a blast. It's a great high when everything comes together, and typically everything does come together. And it's super challenging, but we're blessed to be a part of it. And having been working alongside the NFL for the last 4 or 5 years, it's an important part of our business, and we relish it.
That sounds great. How many different food events? Because I can imagine that there's probably several satellite events or intricate or smaller and larger events within Super Bowl weekend, or maybe it's like 2 weeks of events, I believe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a big windup. And they start with these smaller satellite events that take place the weekend and a little bit more than, let's say, 12, 15 days prior to Super Bowl. And what you find is as you get closer, like with anything, you start getting the bigger boys with the deeper pockets and
Right.
a little bit more to offer. So there's a lot. There's a lot out there. And the great thing about it from an ecosystem, and especially in the events ecosystem here in South Florida, there should be a little taste for everybody to get a mouthful of it. Um,
No
we're,
pun intended.
no pun at all. And we're lucky because we're starting about 2 weeks before out at Super Bowl Live in Bayfront Park, producing, and I know we'll be working with you, which I look
Yeah,
forward to, producing a whole series of
likewise.
culinary demos to really showcase what South Florida is all about. And that's the Super Bowl Host Committee's project. Gives everybody in South Florida a chance to really check out what Super Bowl is all about, even though you may not be able to get to the game itself.
Right.
And then as the week goes by, we'll find ourselves at the stadium producing all of the NFL's food and beverage for basically 15 to 18,000 people who have purchased tickets for the game. So
Wow.
there's a lot going on in Miami.
Wow. And what's the largest event you've ever helped produce?
I got to say, I think it is this Super Bowl. I mean, if you take a look at our normal business cycle, what we do, for example, like the New York City Wine and Food Festival and the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, we produce all of the large scale events. So if you looked at that collectively, you're getting anywhere between 3 to 4,000 people a night. We do 4 nights. You can do the math. That's a lot of people to feed, and changing out the chefs every night. That's a lot of chefs to really focus on. But I think on a single day, Super Bowl has to really be the probably the Mac Daddy for us. I think our last big show, which was in Minneapolis, I think we were right at about 15,000 people for the day. So
Wow.
that
Oh,
for
I
us
was at
is
that
a large
Super Bowl.
event.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
if you were freezing your buns
Yes.
off like we were, right? I mean,
Yeah. Oh my
I'm a
God.
Miami boy. I know you're Miami
Yeah,
centric, and so when I woke up and it was 12 below zero, it was hard to even get outside
it
of the room
was.
to go. Yeah, it
It
was
w
tough.
And so how did you guys deal with those challenges specifically, like moving food, people? I mean, going from site to site. I can imagine that was I mean, I was just doing TV out there and minimal food, and it was just absurd. Like, my hands hurt
Yeah,
my teeth were hurting just to talk.
yeah, it's a great question, and not a lot of people ask it. But the effect that the weather has is just vast. Okay, so in South Florida, people are usually worried about a rain day,
Right.
but when you have to focus on sub-zero temperatures and you need to serve hot food, it really does complicate things. So, for example, we had a lot of things lined up. We wanted to do a lot of big, large primal cuts of meat, smoked outdoors,
Oh,
roasted
wow.
on open pit fires. The whole thing got nixed. So, what happens in a situation like that, and you know better than anybody with all the success you've had in the
Thank
kitchen,
you.
is you just have to be able to turn on a dime. So,
Yes.
what do you do with those meats? You break them down. You start doing smaller cuts. You're grilling and you're using your planchas and things like that, but you still have to feed the same amount of
Um,
people. So, that was something that definitely came into play. We knew about 2, 3 days ahead of time that we were not going to be able to build those fires outside, that we had to change the menu. But for me, Adrian, that's kind of what keeps it exciting in this business. I mean, it's really the challenges that you're thrown on a daily and an hourly basis is what makes this such a thrill and gives you such a high when you're in the production business. But yeah, watching those sub-zero temperatures, even you can't even leave food outside on the dock too long because, for example, your breads, if you leave them out too long, you're all of a sudden immediately getting into a freeze situation and you're affecting all your taste. So our team we did a lot of meetings, a lot of early morning meetings, late night meetings to kind of get ourselves set for those sub-zero temperatures. Luckily this year, knock on wood, we will not have that issue.
Yeah.
But I know rain. I'm sure we won't have any rain, but that's something that will be on our
Yeah.
radar as we move forward.
Well, that sounds a lot like football. The
Yep.
quarterback has to throw to the running back and hopefully at the end you guys make a touchdown like you always do. And then, but to be able to switch plays just like on the fly, well, on the fly, that's very like a kitchen term. But wow, I mean, to be able to handle high stress, it's such an intense and so much, you got so much on your plate. I mean, kudos to you, your company. It's just wow. The wow factor
Well,
is definitely there. Um, how has the increased importance of social media influenced the way you guys produce culinary events? Has it
Uh,
has it
yeah,
influenced?
absolutely, absolutely, and that's a great question, and I know you see it on the restaurant side as
Oh
well.
yeah, for sure.
Listen, everybody's got a camera, everybody's capturing content, and everybody is a critic, and on and on. But the social media thing is definitely here to stay. I think it's going to go through some changes as we go forward. I think we're still kind of in the wild, wild west at this point. But here's what I know, and that is that the look of food, the aesthetic side of what you're doing at these events has become more important than ever. The way you present the food, the drama that you create at each one of your cooking kiosks, the way your chefs look, the way that you present the venue, all those things now are being captured simultaneous to the event itself and being shared with, millions of people. And that's what everybody wants. So we found ourselves, we do a lot of sponsorship activation, and we have found ourselves very keen on helping sponsors, which are sponsor partners, helping them understand how to best present their stories so that there's some capture of social media. And then when we talk with our chefs and we speak about plating and we speak about what their final dish is going to be composed of, we do it through the lens of social media. Because if we can give back, look, chefs and companies are being asked daily. I'm sure you get calls every week to participate in something. And you only have so much time, and there's only so much that you can do for free, and on and on. So as a production company, we have to learn how to give back to the chef. And our way to give back is to set them up for the greatest PR exposure they can get and social media exposure. And so we design that into all of our ops plans as we go forward.
Oh, that's very thoughtful, generous, and that's oftentimes something that's overlooked. I mean, a lot of chefs, like myself, we donate our time or the food or whatnot, and it's true that we have to pick and choose what we do. And if we have somebody on our side that's kind of looking out, hey, I'm not going to pay you, but I can do this. Sometimes that's even more valuable than money. So that's very generous of you. So Randy, if I may ask, for a company like yours, I think you've hit the pinnacle of success. I- for a company to work alongside the NFL and do so many, I mean, also the South Beach Food and Wine, so many milestones you've hit already so early on. What's next? What's the plan? What's the goal?
Yeah, good question. Well, look, I think we're going to continue to see growth in our space, which is this experiential food focused event. And so, we are now talking with a couple of large companies who are in the midst of creating what we think will be the next great experiential food event that will travel across the nation. So for us, the next big stop, it's going to be twofold. It's going to be putting together a series of events that travels across the United States that really speaks to the food culture in individual states and cities. And also, we are going to continue to explore, and we have some cool projects that we have lined up where food intersects with sports and where food intersects with music.
Yes.
I've mentioned this before. I mean, I think, and this is great for you and everybody else in the restaurant business. We got everybody beat. I really think that in the food business because, and I've mentioned this to somebody else just recently. You can listen to music and you can see it live and really have that experience, or you can listen to it in your home on your headphones and get another great experience. Same with sports. You can play it, you can watch it. The great thing about food is you can't really duplicate it other than eating it. I mean,
Right.
you have to have a seat at the table. You got to be with friends. You got to be experiencing the culture of food. And so just by virtue of the fact that we have that, I think we have all these other entertainment factors beat. And so Cream is going to continue to push the envelope on basically that measurement of entertainment and try to take it to the next level. I wish I was at liberty to discuss a couple of these projects because I think they're going to be super exciting. I'd love an opportunity when we kind of make our PR releases to come back and talk to you about it. But
Yes.
we're gonna go out there. And cool thing about being in this position in this firm is that we do get a lot of calls, people wanting to find out what they can do and what they can pull off. A lot of projects will never happen. It's just too much and it just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense and it doesn't resonate with our culture. But there's a lot of stuff out there that we think that's left to be explored.
I mean, are you guys at Coachella? Because I'd love to see you there.
Well, we haven't been there. We actually have. We've had some really good discussions with some of the other major concert promoters about the
Yeah.
ways to kind of up their game.
Yeah, I was there
Um,
a couple years ago, and they have a lot of room to up their game with a great audience, captive audience. You guys would kill it out there.
Yeah, I really look forward, and I love live music. So for me, and talking about passion points, it's just ideal. So you'll
Yeah.
see us in the music space soon, and hopefully we'll help kind of round out that story as people enjoy great music and also enjoy great food alongside.
Awesome. Well, can you share with anybody who might be listening any advice from Mr. Randy Fisher himself of, let's say somebody's coming out of, FIU or one of these great hospitality schools and they aspire to do something even remotely similar or be as remotely successful as you. What any words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, there's that's a whole dinner conversation. But if I had to kind of boil it down, and this is really at our DNA, it is to look at all of these opportunities as an opportunity to share the art of hospitality. If you can really stay true to making people feel something, if you can really stay focused on what it takes to juggle all these pieces and to, at the end of the day, have people walk away. And when I say people, I mean the chefs who are on site, your client, the guests who are there, your sponsors, and your talent. Everybody has to have a unique experience, and you have to learn how to put forth your best hospitality story in order to be truly successful. And the other thing that you mentioned earlier is the stress level. You
Yeah.
have to be able to deal with stress, and you have to maintain a very cool composure, and you never let them see you crack. You can go
Yeah.
behind the curtain and yell and scream to yourself in the mirror, but when you're out on the floor, it's showtime, baby, and you got to really be able to produce that way.
It's showtime, baby. I like that one. Yeah, it's so very true. So very true. And lastly, I want to know what's your favorite. Could be from any time. It could be present. It could be hopeful. It could be something in the future that you're hoping for. Your favorite event, your favorite food event, and it could be for any reason, big or small.
Hmm. Um, I got to tell you something. This may be an unorthodox answer, but my favorite food event is when my family and loved ones are around the table in my home and I have just brought something out of the oven or off the grill and sat it in front of the table and watch their eyes widen and then sit down and dive into that meal with those loved ones. For me, that's the genesis of why I'm in this business. It's gathering people you love, you care about, you respect around the table, sharing this really righteous meal and being thankful for the food that you can put on that table, talking about life and connecting without any social media, but truly connecting individual to individual and experiencing that meal together as a family. For me, I'll take that any day over 16,000 people at the Super Bowl. Now, that may
Wow.
not help me pay my bills, but I certainly would love that and I would relish that. So that's where I would go with that
Well, I
answer.
think that's a beautiful answer. And I think that can help you pay bills because I think we created the next big corporate Thanksgiving commercial by you. I think we all know which company I
I'll
mean.
take it.
Wink, wink. Oh my gosh. It was so awesome to chat with you, Randy. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
See you soon. Thanks for listening in today. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app and leave a review on iTunes. We love your feedback. If you have an idea for a show topic or guest you would like to see here on Chef AF, make sure to send it to producer@foodabletv.com. Also, if you like this show, you'll love some of our other podcasts. Just search Foodable Network on iTunes to get access to all the amazing culinary content.